Don't be fooled by the shirt. After this year's events, I think it's pretty safe to say this is my new favorite DeLong. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Spin It Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about the new album from Robert DeLong called In the Cards. Now for those unfamiliar, Robert DeLong is, in my opinion, a pretty innovative name in the world of modern electronic and indie pop music, mostly because he's managed to blend those two worlds in a way that I can't really recall many artists doing. The closest comparison I can probably make as a whole is like an EDM update on what the Postal Service were doing back in the day, with maybe a hint of 21 Pilots, but even then, the guy's style is so eclectic that I wouldn't even say that's all that accurate. I got into his stuff a couple years ago through his fantastic breakout single Global Concepts, and case in point, I was first hearing it on alternative radio stations that otherwise wouldn't dare play anything within those genres. To me, what really helped Robert attract those multiple audiences on that great debut album Just Movement is in how he mixes this well-constructed electronic and dance and synth pop with a few other styles scattered here and there, with more of a smart, introspective, and lyrical side that you don't normally expect out of those styles. And on top of that, there were a lot of real instruments thrown into the mix, emphasized by his one-man band stage setup that makes his live shows incredibly entertaining to watch. As for this follow-up, the lead single Long Way Down, which now that I think about it was released almost a year ago, gave me some pretty high hopes. It really pushes that pop sensibility that was shown in parts of Just Movement, but it also has this dark, imposing vibe to it that, like a lot of people have pointed out, kinda has a James Bond theme feel to it. In the Cards in general definitely goes for more of that indie pop singer-songwriter side of things. You're not going to find any songs like Change or Religious Views that essentially loop one phrase over the course of 4 minutes. But even then, Robert's never been afraid to delve into some relatively deep topics. The opening title track sets this up perfectly, basically going into the idea of fate versus free will, cleverly demonstrating it through talking about these life occurrences in terms of tarot cards. And in classic Robert DeLong style, it comes complete with a grimy dance breakdown that pops up a couple times. Though, if I had to nitpick on this song, the general structure of it is really reminiscent of Global Concepts, and I can't help get this feeling in the back of my mind like this is just a less memorable version of it, even though I'm still enjoying the song overall. Also, as much as I enjoy the multiple subjects tackled on this album, which I'm going to get into later, I kind of wish there was more of this recurring theme on the album beyond a couple tracks, because a topic like this can make for some pretty interesting situations to conjure up. Like on the song Born to Break, which is this big duet ballad with MNDR that focuses on this couple that's trying to make things work, but they feel like this unknown force is trying to cut things off, and they're trying to figure out whether they should surrender to that or fight it. It brings up questions of inevitability and, again, fate that leaves things generally, and I'm pretty sure intentionally, open-ended. But at the same time, this doesn't detract all that much from the album as a whole, especially with equally interesting songs like the very hyperactive and tongue-in-cheek Sellin U Somethin. Now, I really have to give Robert credit on this song for kind of subverting that typical consumerism message that a lot of artists try to employ to sound edgy and stuff. Sure, he does talk about politicians selling crap to people for their own personal gain, but in the beginning of the song, he totally breaks the fourth wall and basically says similar stuff about the promotion process of his own music to fans. It's kind of a ballsy move, but the fact that he didn't come off like some colossal dick that knows his music sucks or something like that really has to be commended. Though some of those quirkier elements on the album did take a while to grow on me, key example being the extreme vocal modulation on the song Jealousy, but now if anything, that makes it all the more fun as an unapologetically sugary synth pop banger about those people in your life that get a bit too paranoid. Meanwhile, Second single, and my personal favorite, Don't Wait Up, finds him almost going new wave, complete with some nice drum solos, simple but infectious melodies, and expertly written lyrics that can be just as much about insomnia as just having that constant urge to actively go after your ambitions. And while we're on songs to motivate, Future's Right Here is another in a line of songs I've been loving lately this year that have the brutally honest but well-meaning message of, yeah, the situation you're in sucks, but stop moping and get over it already. Between that and the peppy instrumental, topped with a great guitar solo, something I wish Robert would do more in his music, honestly, this is one of those songs I can't help but just get a positive rush from when I hear it. Now, some aspects didn't completely work for me. Like, I found the lyrics in That's What We Call Love a bit too confusing and cynical to be all that rewarding of a closer. And Possessed isn't a bad pop R&B song, and I can see it working better if given to, I don't know, The Weeknd or maybe even Usher, but Robert's voice just doesn't have the sleekness that a song like this really calls for. I guess it's an example of second album experimentation that's commendable but doesn't really result in something all that great. But I can't say that about most of this. I think Robert delivered another really well executed album within the cards. Whether I prefer it over Just Movement is something I'll have to decide with time, but if you like that first album, I can't see why you would be disappointed with this, so I'm gonna give it a very strong 8. Guys, we need to give this man our full support, because if the guy that uses video game controllers as instruments can't shake things up in this oversaturated world of EDM we have in 2015, then I don't know who can. So if you guys have heard this album, what do you think about it? Do you agree with what I had to say? Do you disagree? Have any feedback about the channel in general? Let me know in the comments down below. Share this around with anyone who might be interested. Like the Facebook page in the description for updates, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode of Spin It Reviews. I think Robert delivered... Did I just burp and yawn at the exact same time? Am I gonna die? Okay, that was too bleak.